Does the world truly know who Han from Stray Kids is beyond the spotlight, the waves of light sticks, and the thunderous bass of sold-out stadiums? Behind his sharp lyrics lies a silence, a wound long buried. And today Korea is shaken, not by a K-pop comeback, but by a confession that leaves you breathless. I know what it feels like to be broken. That's not a lyric, not a scripted line. That's Han Jae-sung's raw truth, spoken on camera, eyes dimmed with something heavier than fame. It's a sentence that smashes through the silence of a nation. A sentence that now fuels Korea's fight against the stigma of mental health. Han is not just the lyrical genius of Stray Kids. Today he carries a new title that has sent shockwaves across the country. South Korea's National Ambassador for Mental Health Awareness. And this isn't a token title. He's not a celebrity pulled in for PR. He's a survivor, and that changes everything. During the official press conference at the Seoul Mental Health Center, the mood turned heavy. No fan chants. No frenzied camera flashes. Just Han's voice, soft but striking. I couldn't sleep for days. I was afraid of my own reflection. I felt dead even though I was breathing. It wasn't a confession. It was an explosion. And the aftershock? Thousands of Korean youths poured their hearts out online using the hashtag #SpeakUpWithHan. National TV aired his speech without a single cut. Picture this. A K-pop idol, perhaps the most carefully curated image in Korean pop culture, publicly addressing trauma, fear, and therapy. In a country that's long masked its emotional wounds behind work ethic and cultural shame, Han's voice is a sledgehammer to a rusted gate. The real question is, why now? What happened behind the scenes at JYP Entertainment? Who stood with Han in this journey, and more shockingly, who tried to stop him? South Korea, one of the highest-ranking nations in suicide rates among developed countries, has long swept psychological distress under the rug. Idols are treated as gods but denied the right to be human. Han, known for his poetic depth, has been quietly undergoing therapy since 2020. This fact surfaced just months ago, when internal agency documents were leaked. The bombshell? Several high-ranking executives initially opposed Han's appointment as an ambassador. Their reasoning? It might ruin Stray Kids' clean image. Han fought back. He threatened to walk out. He wrote directly to the CEO. He even had lawyers ready in case his contract was terminated. What gave him that much strength? The answer unfolded in a raw documentary released alongside the announcement. In one scene without music, without cuts, Han sits on the floor of an empty practice room crying. I wanted to live. But back then I didn't feel like I deserved to. That moment shattered the nation. Even conservative networks like KBS and SBS, long reluctant to air content related to mental illness, broadcasted their full support. Since stepping into this new role, Han has visited 17 schools, 4 psychiatric hospitals, and 3 youth counseling centers. He speaks with no script. He listens to stories from bullied teens, abuse survivors, and the voiceless. In an unprecedented move, the president of South Korea personally invited Han to the Blue House to advise on mental health policy reforms. Even more unbelievable, a legislative proposal known as the Han Bill is currently under fast-track discussion in Parliament. Its content includes removing mental health history from job applications, making mental health education mandatory in schools and the military, launching free online therapy services for all Koreans under 25. This is the part few people know. Han vanished from the spotlight for 3 weeks last year. Media outlets said it was due to a minor injury. But in a chilling Korea Herald interview, Han revealed the truth. He almost took his own life. He was saved by a single voice message from a fellow Stray Kids member. The message lasted only 12 seconds. Hyung, we haven't written our best song yet. Don't leave just yet. It was from Felix. And it changed everything. Today Han is more than an ambassador. He's the voice of a new Korea. A Korea unafraid to speak. A Korea done hiding behind silence. A Korea that understands being wounded doesn't mean being weak, it means being real. When asked if he had one last message to deliver, Han smiled with eyes full of scars and strength. If you feel broken, it doesn't mean you're ruined. Maybe you're just being reshaped to become stronger than ever before. But not everyone stood and applauded. Behind the wave of public support flooding social media and the tide of sympathy that lifted Han to the symbolic front lines of the anti-stigma movement, a shadow slowly crept in. Whispers of industry conspiracy, veiled political attacks, and a reemergence of groups that still view mental health as a Western weakness. It didn't take long for a counter-narrative to emerge. Conservative online forums began questioning Han's motives, branding him a celebrity fishing for sympathy to boost sales. A senior member of parliament even subtly accused the campaign of being a commercialized trauma parade during a national radio interview. But the most disturbing development? One of Stray Kids' major sponsors reportedly pulled a multi-million-won endorsement deal just one day after Han's public speech in Busan, where he openly shared his struggles with social anxiety and depression. "I don't want people to see me as a hero. I just want them to know I'm still here." Yet the Korean entertainment industry, notorious for maintaining pristine public images, is not always kind to brutal honesty. Managers from other idol agencies quickly revised their media protocols, banning interviewers from discussing mental health topics with their artists. This wasn't just backlash, this was fear. Fear that Han might spark a domino effect. If one idol dares to speak, others might follow. And if all the hidden voices come to light, how will the public view their untouchable stars? Eventually, JYP Entertainment was forced to respond. In a sudden press conference, the CEO delivered a jaw-dropping statement. "We choose to stand with Han because we believe this industry's future can no longer be built on facades. It must be built on truth." But internally, not everyone agreed. Leaks from inside the agency revealed a sharp divide among executives, some wanting Han to become the face of a reformed industry, others afraid he'd opened a Pandora's box that could shake their multimillion-dollar empire. Meanwhile, Han quietly kept moving forward. He met with Netflix producers to discuss a potential docuseries titled The Silent Room, exploring the hidden battles of K-pop idols with depression and career-induced trauma. More than that, Han was reportedly working on a memoir titled Glass That Didn't Break, a collection of essays and letters to his past self. A leaked excerpt from the early draft went viral. "I am not a fragment. I am a reflection. Cracked, yes, but still able to reflect light." It wasn't just South Korea that listened. International media outlets quickly picked up the story. The Guardian dubbed him the voice South Korea never expected but desperately needed. Time called him Asia's mental health icon. In Japan, China, Brazil, hundreds of thousands of fans organized #LightWithHan gatherings to raise funds for local therapy programs. The most stunning development? One of the most prestigious universities in the UK, the University of Oxford, invited Han to speak at a global symposium on mental health and pop culture. If he accepts, Han would be the first K-pop idol to grace their stage not as a singer, but as an activist. And maybe that's where the quiet revolution lies. When the world no longer sees Han as just a performer, but as a human being who embraced his scars and turned them into a weapon of compassion and liberation. They say honesty is the greatest risk. But for Han, lying to himself was far deadlier. During a live stream, a fan asked him, "Appa, are you still afraid?" Han paused. His face was serious but his smile sincere. "Yes, I'm still afraid. But now, I'm not alone. That's the heart of it." In a world that never stops screaming, we often forget that the bravest voice is the one that speaks softly but speaks nonetheless, even when everyone else wants it silenced. And Han just sung. He won't stay silent any longer. In the days that followed, something remarkable happened. Young idols from newer, lesser-known groups began speaking out, not with headlines or viral hashtags, but with quiet mentions in fan cafes, late-night live streams, and handwritten notes. Han's courage had cracked something open. The silence that once wrapped the industry like iron had begun to loosen. And while the system still stood tall, towering, and fearsome, it no longer felt invincible. The winds had shifted. A new chapter wasn't just coming. It was already being written. And this time it wouldn't be penned in silence but in truth, vulnerability, and fire.